Kibbe and Finnegan Show, episode number 57. It's been 2 to 3 weeks. For the internet world, that means nothing, but I've missed you.
I've missed you too. It's been a while.
Yes.
It's been a while. It's been a while since we've podcasted. It's been months since I uploaded anything but a Kibbe and Finnegan show to my YouTube channel, Finnegan's Garage.
That's about to be corrected, I believe.
Not anytime soon.
No? Really You've been videoing for a week.
I've videoed a lot over the last month and a half, 2 months. I've been working in the garage. I've been shooting video, and none of it is done. Like I've got 3 projects all going at the same time. None of them are finished, and so I don't want to. One of my resolutions for 2018 is to finish something, edit it fairly well, make sure it sounds okay, and then upload it. Not just, hey, it's Monday, I need to upload a video. I'm burnt out on doing that. So when any of these things run, then a video will go up.
Okay, so I don't do a lot of video, but actually this is it. What we're doing here, this is all I ever do.
Okay.
I went to try to record a video, a walk around of the new Kibbe and Finnegan Show generally. I have attempted this twice. I have failed twice. It's so hard.
It is.
And I didn't even get to do it right. So the first time my friend Rodney videoed it, he just held my phone and did a full walk around on the car, just had pulled it out of the trailer from getting it home. The sun was perfect. And when I played it back, every time I'd turn around to look at the car, you go, no, hear my voice.
Yeah, you can't hear you.
Yep, you got to look at the camera, apparently, especially if you're not wearing a mic, and I wasn't.
See, and that's why, you and I are tethered to these really nice microphones when we do the podcast, and I wish I could hold one in my hand and just walk around the garage. I think better on my feet. Like, I'm sitting in a chair right now, and I'm, if I back up or I get animated, the sound drops out a little bit. And same goes for that video. You're not wearing a wireless mic. You're not holding a mic in your hand, so you turn away from the camera to admire your car, and the audience can't hear that admiration.
Oh, that was video number 1 that failed. Video number 2 that failed was yesterday. So I went, pulled him out, and I'm starting to call him a him. I'm not calling it. It's him, Mr. Generally.
That might be the only car other than Kit that I would refer to as a him.
Yeah, if I call my cars any gender, it's a girl name. Like Chevelle, L is always like a Michelle, whatever.
Yeah, but any other car is female to me.
So, pull him out yesterday, getting all set to go, and it's so cold, and it's so windy, but I'm committed. I'm going to make this happen. I know what I want to do. I rock it. I even have the hood popped and ready so I can one hand just throw it up there.
Right.
4 minutes into this wind-laced video, my hands are turning blue. I'm still in it. And then at the 7-minute mark, my phone died. And then I had to stop. I had nothing to charge it with. I had totally unprepared, and it probably would have sucked anyway because it's so windy out. So
yeah, your phone battery doesn't last very good when it's 20 degrees outside.
I'm going to try this again. Maybe even by the time this video releases. But I need to show the world. Yes.
Bring it down here. I have equipment we can use to video. And then find someone else to edit the audio because I'm deaf, and clearly, if you've ever watched Finnegan's Garage, can't hear what's happening because my audio is fairly poor most of the time. So
okay, well, since you mentioned that, and hopefully that's not just so it sounds good on camera, but here's the master plan for this car.
Okay,
and I'm pretty sure, A, you can use it all you want, but B, I'm pretty sure we only need a week, this whole year. So my master plan ends with generally in a booth at SEMA and us doing shows out of it.
That's brilliant.
Okay.
Plus, you need a legitimate business reason to use this car since you bought it as a tax write-off. So.
Yeah, I am fairly certain that this is out-of-ear trigger. Something's gonna happen, and I need to start showing proof that this is real.
It's only January. Well, no, it's almost February. It's February. Yeah, you're fine. It's early, but yeah, you're fine.
Okay, well, that's where it ends. That's where it ends.
Bring it down. The next couple months are bad. I'm gone all of March, pretty much, filming and or hanging out with the family.
All we really have to do is figure out when it's convenient for you, because there's really nothing There's really nothing that can't be done elsewhere. It would just be more fun to do it.
No, bring it down here, and you need to bring it down here to the hallowed ground where the Dukes of Hazzard was originally filmed. First 5 episodes. Yeah, we need to bring it down here, and yeah, we'll turn some wrenches on it and record some podcasts together. And, it'll be great.
Well, here's what I've decided. This is gonna be this might not be our last General Lee that we build. Number 1.
Really?
Number 2, because we're in the era of shows that we're in, I want this to be a season 3 hero car. So season 3, for those listening, the early episodes of the Dukes of Hazzard, the generally has a little different look than it does in the later episodes. And in these early episodes, it's got the dark interior, little narrow push bar, and that narrow push bar, that's going to be the magic sauce on this one. We're going to be the first ones ever to actually make one that's right. That's all measured off of pictures and everything, but it's a hard push bar to make, but we got that figured out. Cool. It's going to have wheel lip moldings. It's going to have all the right trim there. Under the hood, though, we're going to make it like a hero car, and it's going to be all blacked out, kind of like a GM car actually would be, not a Mopar, but that's how they did it on TV. We'll put the old Moroso valve covers on there. I got to get an intake on it. I got to swap out the intake anyway. What's on it now is no bueno. That's not going to work. Interior wise, I want to put a full interior in it. When you look in it now, I mean, it looks nice, but when you sit down in that car, you'd kind of drop to the ground. It needs padding. It probably needs spring. I mean, it needs a lot of stuff, and that's just to cosmetically make it look right. And I got the right vectors for it anyway. Drivability wise, need to straighten out the rear end, fix those leaf spring hanger issue that I think we talked about in the last episode. Mm-hmm. I would really like to make it a floor shift car. Doesn't need to be a floor shift car. But I would like to make it one, and it wouldn't be too big a deal to make it one. No. And then I'd also like to make it a power steering, power brake, disc brake car. But all the cosmetic stuff, that's what's required to make it SEMA worthy and look like a rock star on the show floor. I've driven it.
You did?
Yeah, I drove around the parking lot.
Nice.
It was the only non-salted area I could find.
I like your commitment to keeping it nice, not driving it on these salt-strewn roads of Iowa there.
I had to drive it through some snow, though, but there was no salt in it, so I just kept going.
Did you drive it sideways through the snow? Because that's the only appropriate way to drive it.
The General kind of drives like a dump truck. He needs a little help. The performance department, we're going to straighten that out. But it's a manual steering, manual brake, drum brake car. And I mean, that's what I grew up driving, but it's been a while. I forgot. Whoa, this is different. This is going to take a little tweaking on. But it's so cool. I can't wait for you to drive it. You're going to love it.
I just can't wait to see it.
Is General Mayhem a power steering car?
No, I don't think it is.
No,
that car's got nothing. Well, yeah, there's no side glass, there's no window cranks, there's no back window. Yeah, the car's got nothing in it. I don't think it's got power steering. Even after they did the Hellcat swap in it up there at Diversified Creations, I don't think power steering went in the car.
Does it have disc brakes?
Yeah, on the front.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are they like Mopar disc brakes, or are they something fancier? Willwoods or
I don't know. I think they might have stuck some Willwoods or something on it. It's like a drag race car now. It's got skinny front wheels and tires and fat ones in the back, and yeah, I think it's got aftermarket brakes on the front and the back. I don't think it does.
Okay. Well, I had Mr. Daniel Boshears on the last Muscle Car Plays podcast. I got an education. I thought Corn Dog could do no wrong. I don't think Daniel can do any wrong either. He knows so much.
He does. Well, I mean, he hangs out at the museum and maintains all those cars. So how do you not soak up anything while you're there? Well, I wouldn't, because I don't know. There's no room left in my brain for new info. Mm-hmm. Every time new info goes in, old info has to get pushed out. And so, I don't think I'd learn it. I could never know what Daniel Boshears knows. He's got the brain of an elephant, memory to match. So
I'm looking forward to meeting him. When the General comes down to you, I'm going to him too, or he's coming to you too. I don't know. He got that all squared away. He said he'd tell you what was going to happen. So that sounds good.
Okay.
Hey, do I have news for you? Speaking of Daniel's dream job, Daniel has this dream job at the Welborn Mopar Museum.
He does.
What if you, Mike, needed to hire people? In this day and age, in this low economy, like right now, Iowa unemployment is like zilch. If you're hiring, it's a difficult thing to do.
Is it a low economy right now?
In Iowa, it is.
I don't know.
It's just hard to find labor.
I don't know. But if I was hiring, there's only one place I would go.
Where would you go?
I'd go to ZipRecruiter.
Yeah, that's right.
Definitely ZipRecruiter. I mean, one click, you post your job listing to over 100 different websites. It's very easy to use. And they say that within one day, you will get a qualified candidate. Not just a candidate, but someone who actually, could do the job well. So.
Mm-hmm. Did you know that they're our sponsor for the show today?
Yes.
That's great news, because the place you would have gone already is the very same one that has come back for the show. I was blown away by this. Here you are, just going down the right track. Yes, ZipRecruiter actively looks for the most qualified candidates and then invites them to apply. Now, on our show here, we're going to kind of cover both sides of this, because if you're seeking a job, that's the perfect place to go, and it's always free. If you're looking to hire, well, we have an option for you to get it in there and try out and use it for free. But 80% of employers who post on ZipRecruiter, just like you said, they get a quality candidate through the site who follows up in usually just one day. It is the smartest way to hire, absolutely. And here's how you get the deal through the Kibbe and Finnegan show. So our listeners, if you're hiring, you can post jobs on ZipRecruiter for free, totally free. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/KAFS. That's what you have to do to get the deal. ZipRecruiter.com/KAFS. And if you do that, you'll be able to sign up, try it out. I was talking to them about a week and a half ago, and they said their rate of conversion for people posting and then people finding somebody so good, sometimes it's so good that people, use their free sign up and they find somebody like immediately, like that day. And maybe that's the only person they need to hire. But I went and checked it out. It's really cool. ZipRecruiter.com/KAFS.
Yeah, whether you're a large company or a small business, this site works for you. Definitely.
Yeah, it's executive jobs all the way down to, there really is no menial job anymore.
No, just having a job is a good thing.
It totally is. So if Finnegan's Garage were hiring, you could put it on ZipRecruiter. What would be your first hire in your expanded empire now that you are a TV and internet celebrity?
Oh, yeah, that would be easy. I would clone myself.
Okay, I don't think you can put that on ZipRecruiter.
Not like Michael Keaton did in Multiplicity, where like every time he did it, the next clone was slightly dumber than the first one.
Yeah. Didn't the clones start cloning themselves though? That's when you get in trouble.
Yeah, I think when he was out of the house, like the clones cloned themselves, and then one of them was just dumb as a box of rocks. It was great.
That'd be good. But if you didn't need another mic, like, what don't you have covered now? Do you have who runs your camera? Do you run your own camera, or do you sometimes have somebody run your camera?
Yeah, most of the time I just set it up on a tripod, or just set up a GoPro kind of in the rafters, pointing down, shooting time lapse. And it would be great to have somebody film. Actually, this week I was in my garage every day, diesel swapping the ramp truck. I took the 454 out, was putting a Cummins 12-valve diesel in here, and my friends from Power Driven Diesel were here, and they hopped the thing up before we installed it. And they had brought their friend Brian along, who's a brilliant camera operator and editor. So for once, we had someone down in here filming, and I could just work. It was just so freeing to not have to sit here and figure out where that camera needed to be, or is there sound, or the levels right? Like, none of that. I could just wrench, and it went so much faster. And it made me realize what a pain in the ass it is to come down here by myself and film Finnegan's Garage and get anything halfway decent, because I got to do all the jobs.
So when you started Roadkill, wasn't it just like a GoPro on the windshield and things worked out? When did the actual videography?
It was there from the beginning.
With audio and everything?
Yeah, well, we never, well, not never. I think I can count on one hand the number of times during a roadkill shoot we've had a dedicated audio person, which is the guy that, makes sure everyone's wearing a microphone and he's got headphones on and a mixing board and he's making sure everything sounds good. We hardly ever have that. Normally what you've got on roadkill is a couple of camera operators, and those guys have like 9 jobs. They have to make sure the GoPros are mounted on the car. They're manning the actual cameras, shooting the exterior shots. They're making sure there's audio going, and then our director, Brad, is there usually manning a camera. And so those guys are all doing 10 things.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's not a very big production, not in terms of a television show. And so those guys the footage they get is really amazing considering how spread thin they are. And I'm genuinely impressed by those guys.
Cool.
But yeah, from the beginning, we always had 2 camera guys. But the difference is in the beginning of Roadkill, one of those camera guys would go home and then edit the episode. Mm-hmm. So, these days we have an editor who's not there on the shoot. But that was the main difference. In the very beginning, it was 2 guys operating cameras, no director, and one of the camera ops edited the episode, which was kind of cool because they were there for the whole thing.
Yeah.
It might have actually been faster for them to do it because they were there for the whole thing.
They saw it. Yeah.
Yeah, they know what happened. These days, our director provides notes to the guy that edits the episode.
I think that would be really hard to edit something that you hadn't seen. I don't know how. I don't know how anybody that helps us do it does it.
Can you imagine watching? So figure this. So for Roadkill, there's no script, right? So those cameras are rolling virtually all day, every day for about a week. So you've got hours of footage. And picture yourself being in an office somewhere, and on these hard drives are hours of footage. And you have a vague outline of what happened, but you don't have any really, really concrete notes of like every minute of the day what happened. So you're blind. You have to go in there and figure out, what is this? How do I make this funny? What are the important parts that have to go into it? I mean, I think it's worst case scenario for anyone to make a TV show about, is having to go about it that way. And that's why they don't. That's why TV shows are, most of them I think are probably scripted, because that's efficient to do it that way.
Yeah. It probably goes faster when you know where you're going.
Yeah. I think it's, there's a certain level of frustration involved, I think, for a lot of people involved in Roadkill, in that, we really don't know where we're going or what's going to happen, or, we're constantly driving going, okay, this happened and this happened. Do we have a show yet? Nope. Let's hope something else happens, because, like I said, there's no script. So
just hoping something good will pop up.
Yeah. Let's hope something breaks, something catch on fire, somebody gets hit in the face.
Come something. On, accident.
Yeah, pretty much. You're praying for wreckage. Yeah, because we can't act. So
you have once. I like the Office reenactment where he went out and hit not a printer, an engine block or something. I thought that was funny.
Oh God, that was so much fun and painful. I had been to the gym that morning, I think, and I don't work out that much. But as I've gotten older, I've become acutely aware that my 6-year-old is now faster than me, or almost faster than me. So, in the interest of keeping up with him as he gets older, I've been going to the gym and just trying to stay in shape and keep the heart moving. So I'd gone that morning, and we go out there to film that Office Space reenactment, where those guys on the movie destroyed a fax machine or a printer. We destroyed the V6 out of the Rotson because it kept breaking. And we're swinging these sledgehammers, and I don't remember how heavy they were. They're not that heavy. Maybe it was a 10-pound sledge with like a 2.5-foot long handle. But you do that over and over again, and the next thing you know, I don't know if I had tendonitis or what, but my elbows were on fire. My arms were useless.
Well, you were also hitting an engine block.
I couldn't move them.
It's like hitting concrete for about an hour.
Oh, man. Well, and I don't know how many times I actually hit the engine block, but you just had to keep doing this over and over again. And what we were doing was, we all had our iPhones out. We were watching the music video, or, the movie, and it's essentially a music video. We're watching it going, okay, he kicks this way. Okay, he kicks that way. And we're suddenly, Freiberg and I are learning, we're not that limber anymore. He might not ever have been limber. I don't know. But, the kicking part, like the guy, what was his name? I don't know, the Indian guy, for lack of a better term.
Oh,
That
Nasahib,
dude's
Papa, not going to work here anymore.
right. That guy. That dude's foot was going out of the screen. He was kicking it so hot, like, and he would kick up in the air and bring his heel down on the printer. So I had to do that to the engine. And dude, that ain't easy. So by the end of this music video shoot, and it was an impromptu thing. That morning we were like, let's go do this. So we stopped working on a car, went out to a parking lot and did it. And by the end of it, I couldn't move my arms because my elbows were killing me and my legs were shot. And we had to go back to the shop and finish working on the actual Roadkill car.
It was very funny. And I guess I'm not surprised, but I'm impressed as to how much work you did, because now that you mention it, you're turning the right ways. The engine block, when it hits the ground, it makes the sound that the printer would make when they drop that.
The editing is so good on that. I'm bummed we couldn't use the actual music, and we probably shouldn't have. Even if we could get the rights to it, it's pretty vulgar. But the actual music would have made it. The bootleg we got is pretty close, so people knew what it was. But the actual there's an edit out there that's floating amongst the production staff of the actual song put to that video, and it's cool. It's really cool.
Let's see here. We have a lot to cover today. Did I tell you we have a celebrity interview today?
You did do. Are we actually going to listen to the whole 18 minutes while we're here?
No.
Drop it in.
We're going to roll it after we're done.
Okay.
But let me say that for when we get there, because we are having our actual first Dukes of Hazzard actor on the show. And this is not a joke. Like, I recorded it last Friday. He couldn't do it over video, so it's just audio. But so if you listen to this show, you're going to get it in full bore. I don't know if we'll stick this in the YouTube version or not. Maybe we can. Just put funny pictures in when people are talking.
Oh, you don't have video. I'm curious what that guy looks like.
I have a picture of that too.
We're jumping ahead of ourselves though.
Okay, we'll get back to this.
Right, that part yet.
Let me man, there's so much. Here we go. We're gonna do some emails and we're gonna do a little game here. So let's do the game. This is a return of celebrity birthdays. This is January celebrity birthdays, and all music in here. Let me get this rolling. Okay, so unlike how we've done this in the past, I'm going to give you two celebrities. Okay? I'll play the first one, and you have to tell me who it is. I'll play the second one, and you have to tell me who it is. One of them has a January birthday. One of them has a July birthday. Okay?
Like, I'm going to know that. Okay.
Well, actually, it doesn't matter when the other one is. It's just totally opposite. Only one is legit January.
Okay.
Got it. And I think I probably have to turn the music down just to play this. All right, so here's number one. And you got to listen to the whole thing. I can't cut it short or it won't make sense. Okay? There we go.
Pilot, you got a little static there. Mind repeating that call sign again?
Sure thing. Clown penis. Clown like the circus, penis like your penis.
I recognize his voice. I don't know who it is though.
He often. I had to cut myself short because it was time to record this show. But I was about to pull a clip of him doing George W. Bush, which I find also hilarious.
I have no idea.
Will Ferrell.
Oh, yeah, that's why it
Ferrell.
sounded familiar.
I think he was on Saturday Night Live this past weekend. Okay.
I think he's been on it a lot.
And
even after he left.
Just for guess, do you think he's a January birthday? You can't use the internet. Just think so.
Who's the second one? Can you give me the second one first?
Okay, here's the second one. This one is not as good audio, but you should be able to hear it.
I'm about to blow your mind right now. I don't go to the gym much. And because of that, I can't push my boat into this trailer.
And I didn't put like an echo behind there. That's just how I got it.
That's just my audio. Oh my god! See, that's the problem is when I edited that, I didn't hear that echo.
I'm sure it sounded fine. Do you know who this January or is this a January birthday celebrity?
Yeah, I believe that that last one you played shares the same birthday as the Dukes of Hazzard when it premiered. January 26th, 1979.
January 26th, 1975, of course, is your birthday. So happy birthday. And
thank you.
That was good. And yeah, 1979, as the powers would be, that was when the first Dukes of Hazzard show aired.
I wonder if I was aware of that on my birthday. Of course, I'd only be like 4, so probably not.
My fourth birthday, I remember it well. I got my first push car, like a pedal
You
car.
remember your 4th birthday?
I because of the gift I got. It's called a Tuffy, but it's a little pedal car. I still have it.
I don't remember anything from like before age, I don't know, 10.
Well, that's a you
I
problem.
remember moments, but not much, really.
Anyway,
I've hit my head many times.
Will Ferrell was born in July. He's 50 years old.
He's 50.
Yeah, he's 50. So I did want to hear about your truck because I have followed your truck. Oh, by the way, everybody that follows us on Instagram, Kibbe and Finnegan Show, also wished you a happy birthday. Bazillions of them. Laura found a picture of a General Lee with a birthday cake that said Mike on it. Thought that was cute.
Oh, I saw the picture. I didn't realize it said Mike. But
yeah, it says it on the side. But yeah. So tell me about this truck. So you found a way to get the whole Cummins engine and cooling system in the Ramp truck, right?
More or less. So it turns out a 12-valve Cummins is rather long in comparison to a big block Chevy.
Mm-hmm.
And so I bought these aftermarket engine mounts from dieselconversions.com. And it's an adapter that goes from the engine block down to the stock Chevy biscuits that bolt to the frame rail. And if you bolt that together and try to bolt it to the stock Chevy cross member, the engine doesn't fit. It hits the firewall. You can't even get everything to bolt together. So at that point, I'm staring at it going, well, I can either slide the cross member forward and drill new holes and mount this engine right up against the firewall. But upon measuring all of that, I realized you'd have to take the mechanical fan off the front of the Cummins, which isn't the end of the world. But even if you do that, the aftermarket radiator and electric fan setup you'd need to cool this Cummins is essentially right up against the engine, making it hard to work on. And I'm a big believer in mechanical fans in certain applications. I'm a big believer in a mechanical fan with a fan shroud that fits it properly in certain applications. And so I thought, all right, I'm just going to cut the firewall and move the motor back so that I can bolt it to the stock cross member like these mounts are designed. And if I do that, I think I can fit everything in this truck as it was in the Dodge that I robbed the engine from. So I got this engine and transmission out of a 1997 Dodge Ram, and I was able to, after cutting the firewall out of my C30 Ramp Truck Chevy, I was able to fit the stock Dodge radiator, which is massive. Yeah, it's way bigger than the stock 454 radiator in the Ramp Truck. I was able to use the stock mechanical fan from the Dodge, the radiator, the fan shroud, the radiator. I was able to trim the core support to fit the stock Dodge intercooler in there. Like, everything is in there, and if I break down any of these service parts, I can go into an auto parts store and get pretty easily.
Mm-hmm.
And so the only drawback to doing all that is now I need to go back in there and patch the firewall and the transmission tunnel, which isn't the end of the world, except I don't own a bead roller. I don't own a sheet metal brake. I don't own a stomp shear. So now I need to invest in those tools because I don't have them.
What's the transmission that's in it? It's huge. I don't know what it is, though. Yeah,
it's giant. It's a 47RH, which the front half is similar to like a torque flight, like a 727.
Uh-huh.
But it's a hydraulically controlled 4-speed automatic with overdrive and a lockup converter. And the guys at Power Driven Diesel built out of it so that it will stand up to this engine's torque output, which they're guesstimating at about 1,200 pound-feet and about 600 horsepower.
This is your twin turbo setup?
Yeah, so it's a compound turbo. It's their kit. We took a stock 12-valve Cummins, left the bottom end alone, O-ring the block, put a head gasket in it, put an ARP head studs, and then added their compound turbo kit on top of it, and then modified the P-pump, the lift pump, replaced the injectors, basically all bolt-ons. You can bolt-on stuff to this engine, and they're telling me it's going to last 100,000 miles. Like, it's durable, and it will haul in this truck and get better mileage.
That's pretty awesome. What'd you do with the truck that you got it from, the airport tug?
It's still sitting in my driveway. I want it gone. Oh. So I threw it up on Instagram for sale. And this is really weird. So I threw it up on Instagram, and I didn't know what to ask for it, but the truck's in really good shape. It's an airport tug. Or it's a bobtail. And so it's a 1997 Dodge 2500. No motor, no transmission, but all the glass is there, the interior's there, the body's in really good shape. The chassis only has 18,000 miles on it, and it's been shortened by a company called Entwistle, and they made conversions for the military. So it's got pintle hitches at both ends. It's got a big diesel tank. It's got a toolbox on the back and a really, really short turning radius. The wheelbase is like 100 inches. And so I threw it up on my Instagram page and didn't know what to ask, but I wrote, $2,500. And because it's an 18,000 mile truck with no motor, no trans. And it was interesting. There were so many people that like, you're nuts. It ain't worth $2,500. And I'm like, well, all right, whatever. Make me an offer. Like but it was crazy. There were so many people that just jumped on me about what I asked for it. And I'm sitting here going, y'all ever been to the swap meet? Why aren't you bargaining with me? Why are you complaining? Offer me $1,000. I might take it. Like nobody did that. Everybody just that I asked $2,500 for it. And I'm over here going, well, that's just kind of like the jumping off point. Like,
It's all open. It's all open. I'm not married to it.
Yeah. And so the downside of throwing it on Instagram was that I had several people come to the house pretending to want it that just wanted to come to the house. Like, oh man, it sucked. Some kid came over. He had no intention of buying it. He literally came over to show me his car. And I'm like, that's great. But it was disturbing as well because I didn't have to tell him where I lived. He knew where I lived. And he came to my house just to show me his car. He had no interest in the truck. And it would have been all right, except I was in the middle of filming and we were behind and we're late and we dropped everything we were doing so we could go out and show him the truck. And yeah, he didn't give about the truck. I was like,
I'm sorry.
That's all right. So what I'm thinking about doing now, because apparently the truck's putting up a fence or something. What I'm thinking about doing now is, I guess the truck is overpriced. I was going to throw it up again and just say, what do you want to trade? You got a toolbox, you got a goat. What do you got?
That's a smart way to do it.
I'd trade anyway.
Right after my dad retired, he spent his whole career in the aviation world. I found the sweetest retirement job for him. And I'm kind of sorry it didn't work out. It was being the manager of like this tiny little airport in nowhere, Iowa. And he could drive around in your 18,000 mile tug all day and just love life. And on the occasional Cessna, he could hook onto it, drag it around somewhere. That would be pretty fun. You could even put a gas engine back for what that thing needs to do. If it's not pulling jet airliners, it doesn't need a lot of power. It's all momentum anyway.
Well, and it's geared so that even if you had a gas engine, it'd be fine. It's got like 717 gears in the back.
You could put the ramp truck motor in it, the 450.
I gave it away already. But yeah, you could. That's the thing is, you had a motor and a trans, you could throw it in here and you'd have yourself an 18,000 mile truck. I don't know. People with no vision, I guess.
This is how it works, America. You got to think, you got to dream, you got to make.
Yeah. Do something.
Okay. So we normally run these episodes and we try to time them to about an hour. That's kind of like magic land, especially in an audio podcast. Is kind of don't go past an hour if you're trying to do
rules.
This weekly stuff like we like to do.
I strongly dislike rules.
Okay, we can go 8 hours here. Whatever
and
you
boxes.
want.
I don't like boxes either.
I was about to set this up so you got to leave early today.
Oh, I don't need that. Oh. I got a list of things we can BS about.
Okay. Well,
he's like, I have no interest. Let's get out of here.
That's all well and good, but here's the thing. When we get to the Dukes of Hazzard review, after that, we're going to roll an interview with an actual Duke. A real Duke. Like not of England, like a Duke boy Duke.
Which begs the question, how good of an interviewer are you? Did you ask the questions I wanted asked? I didn't give them to you, but you should know.
Let's find out. What do you got? Hit me. I'll tell you if I got it.
Things I want to know. Mm-hmm. So having seen the episode.
By the way, season 3, episode 16, titled Along Came a Duke, written by Len Kaufman, directed by Paul Baxley, the stunt director, which is why we have good action here. Original air date, February 13th, 1981. And Mike, can you just tell people who the extra Duke is in here? It's not Coy or Vance.
No, it's not, but it looks a lot like Coy. No, I don't know who the extra Duke is. I watched the episode. I have no idea what his name is. But, yeah.
Jeb Stuart Duke.
Oh, you mean on camera? Yeah. Oh,
yeah. Jeb Stuart Duke.
Yeah. I didn't know his name in real life.
Chris Hensel is his name.
Chris Hensel. So how good of an interview did you do? I wanted to know I don't want fan questions. I want just behind the scenes stuff. What were the cars like? Any drama on set? Like it was interesting that they had him there, and at the end of the episode, they kind of led us to believe he'd be back. Does he come back? Mm-hmm. Did Bo and Luke feel threatened by another blonde-haired Duke showing up? I mean, like, what was this all about? That's the stuff I want to know.
If you listen, all of that's going to be answered and more.
Yes,
that's all of it.
So cool. And the episode's good too. The episode is, the plot doesn't even matter. Thanks to Paul Baxley, being the stunt coordinator and the director. The action is great, and the ending is hysterical because the end of the episode is, the obligatory car chase, but it involves like the high school track team,
mm-hmm.
and there's kids. Well, they weren't even kids. The track team is literally pole vaulting through the air, and the camera cuts to them falling into Boss Hogg's caddy as it drives by. Someone throws a spear and it goes through the hood of the caddy. I mean, it's good stuff. So, yeah.
You're going to get all of that answered. I'm going to give you a little teaser though, because one of my first questions was this going to be a recurring role for you? And the answer was yes.
So what happened?
Hollywood happened. So it was not just going to be a recurring role. He had a 7-year deal to be Jeb Stuart Duke on the Dukes of Hazzard.
And
prior to the filming, an actor strike happened, and a bunch of things didn't get signed, specifically his contract. In the midst of all of that, something with some other actors happened, and his contract was not picked up. They left his single shot episode in. It was a one-time deal. He knew it when he filmed it, but he had to go in there and do this one episode knowing that he was almost on there for life.
Oh, dude, that sucks.
And he's a cool guy to talk to. I really enjoyed the interview. If you're watching this on YouTube, you're probably not gonna. I don't know if you're gonna hear it or not. Go listen to the podcast show because you're gonna hear the whole thing. He was very candid. He told it top to bottom. Here's what happened. Here's when it happened. He is totally grateful that he got the chance to do it. It made his career. So many things opened up just because he was on this one episode. Because he was on the #1 TV series, and his particular episode went to #1 on the charts. It made a big deal for him. He got another series out of it.
He was a big part of this episode.
Yes.
The whole thing, basically. And it made him look really good, especially on the motorcycle.
It did. He got another little sneak from the interview. He was mistaken in Hollywood a couple times for John Schneider.
I could see that.
Yeah, and there's a reason for that. You got now. I'm not going to give any more info from this, but this is this will all be handled later. But yeah, the gist of this show, you could never do this today. It's like Stonewall Jackson Day. And
oh God, I know. They're celebrating.
The town is littered with Confederate flags. The police officers are dressed in Confederate uniforms. You couldn't do this one again.
No, you couldn't.
It's really, really funny. But I have some tidbits, and then Corndog has some tidbits. And do you have a super Mike Finnegan summary, or have we already walked past that one?
It was awesome.
Okay, super duper.
8 corn dogs.
8 corn dogs. 8 corn dogs right there. All right, here's what I got. So actor Chris Hensel, who played Jeb Stuart Duke, he's making the rounds now of different shows, like with the other actors. And we're going to roll his interview here after this is all done. He has been hanging out with the Northeast Ohio Dukes. Those are the ones that jumped that generally last year at the Detroit Autorama. Remember that one?
Are you talking about recent? Wait, are we back in time, or are you talking about right now he's been hanging out with people?
Talking about right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, talking about right now. If you watch what he's wearing Bo's outfit from like episode 2, red shirt, tight jeans.
Oh, were they the actual clothes? Like they washed them and said, "Here, wear this."
I don't know if they're the actual clothes, but they may as well have been. They were Bo's. It was Bo's outfit from like episode 2, the one where or whatever episode it was, where they go to Star Recording Studio.
Oh yeah,
in Atlanta,
when Daisy got bamboozled.
Mm-hmm. This show starts with a real '69 Charger RT being used. You can see the markers are all on it. They're all just kind of spray painted out, but its backup lights are painted. Everything on the car that could be painted orange was just painted orange, but all trim. Harry Joe, who is the older bad guy in this one, he was played by actor Dennis Houlihan. In real life, he was married to Hot Lips Houlihan from MASH, Loretta Swit.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Neat little tidbit in here. The scene that you were talking about where they're driving around through the high school is actually just another section very nearby of the Warner Brothers backlot. And that fountain that you see going by, that's the Friends fountain. Like the I'll be there for you. The intro of Friends when they're all in the fountain. That's on the Warner Brothers.
Sing that again.
Backlot. Well, okay.
Ever.
But I verified that it's
Ever.
It won't happen.
Ever.
All right, we're good.
God, I need to get that out of my. Oh my God,
It's a catchy tune. It's a catchy tune, and a lot of girls
now
end up
it's stuck in my brain.
changing their hair differently. But that was the big thing there, and it's so near where Hazard Square is that if you just keep paying attention, you'll see all sorts of things. It's tiny. How they slung those cars through there, God only knows, because it's the best show ever. Here is the Corn Dog Insider Car Show analysis. At the 6:57 mark, he says, after the Duke boys come to the rescue of Cooter, or the curator at the Atlanta Museum, he drives off. Bo and Luke walk backwards toward the General Lee, and you can see the left front fender is missing its 68 marker side light, leaving only a hole. Okay. 15:11, when Bo and Luke are headed to Atlanta, they show the skyline. This is indeed Atlanta skyline, but the footage was from Season 1, Episode 2, Daisy's Song. Oh, that's the same episode that Jeb got his clothes from. 15:35 mark, when Bo and Luke are leaving the Atlanta Museum with a sword, we can clearly see them getting to the armored truck, and two other guys are driving the General Lee. But at the 16:36 mark, on the trip back to Hazard, the camera cuts to the interior of the General Lee, and now Bo and Luke are driving that one. Okay, here's where it gets good. You're going to dig this. 27:20 mark, when Bo and Luke are in jail, they take Cletus's keys. The brass tag, keyring tag, says 7552. And the keys are actual Chrysler keys. This was a common key tag used by Warner Brothers. Being that the cars were built by the Values at this time, it is possible that they used the same brass tag. My best guess is that 7552 would have been the last four digits of the car's VIN. Check that out.
Mm-hmm.
I think that he says they were still doing that in later productions too. 32:15 mark. This part I took pictures of because I want to do this. Cooter is under the hood of the dressed-up General Lee. Notice the blue upper radiator hose, chrome hood hinges, chrome latch tray, etc. And the blue upper radiator hoses, he believes were taken off of police package 440 cars. I guess they were blue.
Okay.
I don't know if that's a thing, but that's what I got to try to find. 40:17 mark, when Bo, Luke, and Jeb run out of the courthouse to chase the bad guys, you may notice that they pull off their typical routine perfectly. Luke gets in the car first, cranks it up, and his hand is on the shifter ready to go. As Bo is climbing in, Luke is saying, hit it, hit it, hit it. As Bo gets through the window, his foot hits the gas, and Luke slams it into gear. And they also had these cars, there's no neutral switch
Safety
in them.
switch.
Like you could fire up the car in gear if you wanted to. You just do that. I think they did that a lot. And last one here, 46:58 mark. This is such a mess of a shot. I guess they played it off well enough so that the director didn't feel the need to reshoot it. But Bo falls down the hill, off camera, and it confuses Luke. And Luke looks up at the director, at the camera, to figure out if they're still rolling. And the guy keeps going, and then Bo walks in, and they're laughing. And they finish out the scene. But if you walk it, like, Tom Wopat clearly just stops acting for half a second and looks at the camera. It's pretty dumb. But Paul Baxley it must have been a long day. Like, screw it, we're done.
He's like, stunt, whatever, stunt.
So I have a bunch of clips for this one. I'm going to put them all after our interview with Chris Hensel. But did you give this 8 corn dogs? Corn dog gave this a 7 corn dogs.
Man, hater.
I'm going to give it a 9 because of our guest today.
Spear went through a hood of a car. I mean,
yeah. I would give it a perfect 10 if we could have had a video interview, but we just couldn't figure out a way to pull that off when we were doing it. But yeah, I think that was really good. Really good. Mm-hmm. So give out your Instagram contact info here because we're going to run the interview next and then you and I won't be back to close it out. So where can people
If you want to find me on the interwebs, you can go to, excuse me, at Finnegan999 on Instagram.
Sorry, I was already checking Craigslist there.
At Mike Finnegan 999 on Twitter and at Mike.Finnegan/news on Facebook.
And you can. When I see your eyes like shift, and I can tell there's like your phone is off screen. Like, yep, I'm good.
Busted.
You can find me at themusclecarplace.com, and you can get to the Kibbe and Finnegan show primarily on Instagram, and you can also get it in iTunes, iHeartRadio, Google Play. It's in Stitcher. It's in everything. Thank you for the ratings. In the next show, we'll put some time into leaving some reading through the feedback and emails and catching up on all that. But up next here is actor Chris Hensel, Jeb Stuart Duke himself. I hope you enjoy that, and then when he's done, I'll be back and we'll have some clips, and that'll be it. All right? I will see you later.